Welcome again for another Wednesday Wisdom. And I'm so excited to talk to you today about this topic. And I know nobody wants to talk about it, but how do you know when either your contractors, your employees are embezzling money? So let's kind of take it back for a moment. Right now, what is the month of May, right? There's the videos and this viral things going on like May-December, like the craziness of December's without all the holiday, cheer and all of that. So here's what's happening. Everybody's running like crazy, right? Preparations for the summer, kids are getting out of school, presents for teachers, presents for this, presents for that. There's a lot of things going on. And many times when there's, we're in a good mood, summer is coming, the sun is up, like we're all ready to go and just take time off. We have a couple of big holidays coming up, right? So we kind of let our guard down. And when it comes to business, letting your guard down means that you're letting go of controls. So I'm going to talk to you very simple, the way I look at things. And again, this is only my opinion. So, take it with a grain of salt. If it fits you or you think this is something that you see, use it. If not, or, give me your 2 cents. I would love to know what you think about it. And if you ever had an experience with someone embezzling money from you. And I have seen over the years, many different types of business owners who, trusted employees, embezzled money. So what happens when you let your guard down? There are a couple of things on the financials that you might not pay attention or might not be closely intimate with. Like I like to look at it, and things can slip through your fingers and you don't realize what's going on. So let's dive in through some of the things that might be a sign that either your vendors, which I have seen with vendors, meaning your bookkeeper, your accountant, someone that you trust doing your day-to-day activities in operations and virtual admin, someone who has access to financial information would embezzle money. So we're going to dive into 7 different ways you can spot if this is happening in your organization, right? So number 1, unexplained financial discrepancies. So when you look at your financials, this literally implies you actually have to look at your financials, right? So when you look at your financials, I always like to look at comparative data. Like if I'm looking this month and I'm looking at last month, if I'm looking for the last 3 months, I should be able to see why is there a discrepancy, right? Some accounts should not have high discrepancies. And if it's a high discrepancy, you should know. The hardest thing with embezzling money is that it's kind of like a drip, right? They take money slowly. So you've got to be intimate in knowing what's going out of your organization. What's the process? Any discrepancy, you should know what that is about. Oh yeah, we had this vendor, we had this thing going on. Oh, we had this situation, we had to repair it, so, or we had to send additional this, or we had to prepay, or whatever the case might be. Okay, so if you give your power away to someone saying, oh yeah, if we pay for a whole year in advance, they're gonna give us 20% discount, but you never check in to see if those things happen. On the financials, the discrepancy, you can assume that this is what it is without you verifying. So again, just check your financials, go through them and ask questions. The best thing you can do when you look at the set of financials as a business owner is ask questions. So what is that exactly? What was last month? What was this? What was that? So always ask questions, right? Have someone you trust that can actually look at your financials and give you the reality exactly how it is. Okay, number 2. Lifestyle changes. So out of the blue, this employee that never goes on vacation, they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to go for 2 weeks in Bahamas. Or I'm going to go for, a month in Europe. Or I'm going to go do this. Any type of lifestyle changes. Or out of the blue, they're buying a more expensive car. So those are the people that you have to inquire and be a little bit more assertive on, okay, what's going on? Does she have a rich boyfriend? Does he have, did he hit the jackpot, or whatever the case might be? And again, I'm being facetious, yes, but you got the point. Okay. That's number 2. Number 3, it's going to be reluctance to share financial information. So let's say I have this employee, let's say it's a bookkeeper. Let's say you have a bookkeeper who's handling your financials and you say, oh, show me how you do this. Show me how this is happening. And it's I ask my employees all the time. So when they say, "Oh, I don't know how this works. I don't know if I'm doing it right," or, "Oh yeah, I got it." Like they don't need any help, or they need a lot of help. I said, record yourself, record the video, show me how you're doing it. And if they're not sending you the data, if they're not sharing the information with you, right? If it's a bookkeeper, say, and they don't want to share information, like, show me how you do this. It's not that I care to do it myself. It's for the for the audit process. I want to see how you're doing it. What exactly? And if I see, like, it's many times it's a broken process. They have passwords in a weird place. They have like all these things that are happening, right? So ask questions, okay? Show me how you're doing it. Ask for it. Can I see, where is that coming from? How do you get this data? Where did you get this information? Who gave you access to that account? What can you do on that account? So ask questions when you have, they have a reluctance to share financial information. And this takes me straight to number 4, which is they are overly protective of their work. So when they're doing something and they're like, no, I got it. I don't need any help. Like, you don't need to see it. I'll show you when it's done. Like, for me, it's like, okay, it could be you're a really great employee and you're a really great contractor. You got it. Like, here you go. And typically as a business owner, you're happy when you get one of those people like, yeah, I got it. I'll let you know when it's done. Like, you have to really pay attention if they're overly protective and say, just share with me the progress. And no, you don't need to know. Like, I want you to see when it's all done. It might be a sign that they're cooking something. Okay. So just be cognitive of, hey, I need to protect what's coming in the business. I have the responsibility to protect the business. Okay. So we act as a guardian in that regard. So, which takes me to number 5, unusual transactions. And when you talk about unusual transactions, like large requests of payments from vendors that are saying, hey, you didn't pay for 2 months, or, like anything that's unusual about, payments or transactions. In the bank, out of the blue, you get a message from the bank. There's this transaction that's happening. You need to know what that transaction is. You need to have the intimacy with your money going out and money coming in at the same time, that you would know, do I know what that is about? Do I not know who that vendor is? Any type of, like not assurance or any type of, doubt of any kind that you have, you got to stop and research, ask questions. So if you see my thread throughout all of this, ask questions. The best way to protect yourself is to ask questions, lots of questions. No question is a dumb question. You ask questions over and over and over again, right? So especially when you see unusual transaction, like, who initiated the transaction? How does it take place? Is it a recurring transaction? Is it a one-time? Is it a bank account that I don't really use that much? Do I have anything, any measures at the bank that would allow only a specific number of transactions, or a cap on the dollar amount that's processed? Do I know exactly who has the right to transact on my account? Who can, do all of this, process? So unusual transactions is number 5. Number 6, which we're going right in, we've talked a little bit about it, vendor issues. If out of the blue, a vendor that you thought, hey, we're caught up, they're saying, no, you have overdue payments for a long time. It's like, wait, we're paying this every month. How is it possible that I have an invoice that's outstanding for like 6 months ago? That's a flag for you. It's a flag for us to see, okay, something is not right. Okay, because you can have, and embezzling money takes so many shapes and forms. People can set up vendors, but it's going to be their information on the, the banking or all the other pieces. So you can have two, like literally in the same vendor accounts, you can have 2 different things. So you always want to check, ask questions. For example, if you're going through your financials and you see you've got to review your financials and you see accounts payable on your balance sheet, which it goes to a very important question that I want to mention to you. When you review your financials, you do not stop at your P&L. P&L is just showing you, okay, do I make money? Do I not make money? It's not a full picture. It's almost like, well, I'm not going to look at my scale to measure. I'm just going to see how I feel. Okay. But without me saying, oh, I feel so good, without getting on that scale, which I don't want to get on the scale. Your scale is your balance sheet. Okay, you've got to look at your balance sheet. You've got to understand the items that are going on the balance sheet, because this is where it's going to tell you, do I have vendor issues? Do I have anything that, we're not getting the payment or we're getting the payment? All of this should be in your radar. You should look at it. You should ask questions. It doesn't mean you need to be an expert. You just have to ask questions that you understand, you have no doubt, and no dubious transactions are floating around. Okay, so that was our vendors. And number 7, lack of segregating duties. Okay, now I know what you're thinking. It's like, whoa, we're a small business. We don't have that many people. You've got to separate some of the things. So for example, if you have a bookkeeper that you're hiring, have someone else review the bookkeeper. It doesn't mean they're always embezzle money. It's really a best practice to do, right? If you hire an accountant, a CPA to do specific things, and then you have an advisor, have your right hand check your left hand. You always want, listen, I do this in my company. I never file for anybody a tax return without having 2 people taking a look at that return. It's not possible. You will always find something if you don't check. I check. If someone else is doing it, I check. And listen, and I do the ultimate review because I like to review everything. It's just the nature of the beast right now. But all in all, you always want to have your right hand check your left hand and your left hand check your right hand. It's not that you don't trust people, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's not that you think your employees are bad. It's not that you assume everybody's going to embezzle money from you. It doesn't mean you're paranoid. It means you have best practices to make sure you protect your business, to make sure you protect what's yours. Okay, so that's that. Now, embezzling money is a serious issue. And I have seen over the years, even like when someone like as a contractor, like a bookkeeper embezzled money from a company, they still kept the bookkeeper, because they couldn't find a replacement. They felt dependent on the bookkeeper. And as sad as it sounds, it happens all the time. So here's what I would like you to do. I would like you to really think about, what can I do to protect myself? And I'm just going to give you a couple of tips. I'm going to do a full video on how can you protect yourself and your financials, your cash coming in and out when you have multiple hands touching the pot, right? Everybody wants to have their hand in the pot. You are the one that's responsible in protecting what goes in and what goes out of that pot. So how does that work? So number 1, you've got to have a very secure system of storing passwords, and everything should have either a MFA authentication. You should have a text message to a phone. You should have some way of getting notifications when someone is accessing something of really sensitive financial information. Like, I prefer 1Password. Like, we have cybersecurity in our company, and for my family and I, for my business and I, for everything that we're touching, we have 1Password. Right? And I know everybody. I know when and what's going on with every single password. That's the first tip. And the second tip would be notifications. I would recommend going through every one of your bank accounts, credit cards, having caps for people, having caps for daily transactions, having, different types of, okay, I would not allow recurring transactions. If I have something that's, looks the same, to have any type of fraud alerts that are coming to you. And listen, if you have your phone with you, if you have a fraud alert, what happens is on your phone, you're going to get the notification, say, is this you? And I'm like, yeah, that's me. Yeah, I approve that. Okay, so I'm going to stop at that. Those are my 2 tips for today. And we're going to do a full video on how to protect your financial data, because listen, fraud happens. And many people don't even know until we file tax returns. And we find that there's things and they owe money, or things are not panning out. There's something that doesn't match out. And when you do, you have to look at this. Taxes kind of is almost like the overall, like overlooking all your financials. Everything gets exposed when you do tax planning, when you do tax returns. Everything kind of gets bubbling to the surface. So when that happens, people are like, well, that's not really true. That didn't really happen. So always pay attention. When someone's doing your tax, and they just take your word and just don't look into your financials, they don't ask any questions. That's not a good, no bueno, right? So I'm going to stop at that, because we can talk about this for a long time. I hope this is useful to you. And here's what I would love to know. I would love to know, did this ever happen to you? Right? Did you ever have someone embezzle money from you? Do you know anybody? I would love to know your experience and what have you done? What were some steps that you took to really protect yourself, the company, or maybe you worked with someone that happened to? I would love to know, and just let me know in the comments, how did you deal with it? And any recommendations that you have for all of us to really see how do we protect ourselves from employees and contractors embezzling money from us. So you guys have an amazing week. Have a great May, and I will talk to you next week. Have a good one. Bye-bye.